I'm the guy that at the wedding I get wasted, or I'm sneaking off with like cousins to the bathroom, or that's just me. She like kind of knows it's not like out of the ordinary that this would be an issue right now. And then it got a little out of control. I don't have a place to live. I lost all my stuff. They put all my stuff, and some of that was some family stuff that I was kind of hanging on to in my apartment because they used to live in the area. They didn't bring it back home with them, and I didn't pay the storage bill, of course. And so there's that show Storage Wars. That's real. Like they auctioned off they bidded on my things and got all my stuff. I didn't even know that happened till I called.
Sometimes I make mistakes in my life. Life goes on and on and on and on and on. Yeah, hey, I got wisdom from my papa. He ain't have a lot of money, but he taught me how to keep the perfect posture. So folding under pressure, that ain't something that I'm about to. Crabs in the barrel, I'm just trying to be a lobster. I hit my cousin, told him to call. It's been 12 years and I ain't heard from him at all. Had a little fallout over some money. Damn, ain't it funny how the smartest people be beefing like they some dummies? But I hope you doing swell now. Hope your family well now.
Welcome to Primary Purpose with Pej. My name is Pej and I'm your host. Today's topic is boundaries are love. Today on Primary Purpose with Pej, we sit down with Scott Stein, a family coach, interventionist, and founder of Capital Companion and Transport, where he helps families navigate the chaos of addiction with honesty, structure, humor, and an unwavering amount of heart. Scott didn't learn this from textbooks or theory. He lived it. Before he became the person families call when nothing makes sense, he was on the other side of the phone. His addiction spanned opioids, alcohol, weed, benzos, selling drugs, nightlife culture, and the work hard, party harder mentality that eventually left him homeless, evicted and crashing wherever a couch was available. Everyone saw the problem long before he did, until two worlds collided and his mother's growth became the mirror he couldn't avoid. Today, Scott has turned that lived experience into his purpose. He coaches families, stages interventions, and provides one-on-one companion support for individuals who need accountability and structure before treatment, during treatment, or transitioning out of it. His passion lies in the part most people overlook: executive functioning, habits, life skills, routine, and responsibility. Scott believes you never steal someone's comeback story. You support it. You set boundaries, not band-aids. You offer truth, not rescue. Whether someone lives in a Park Avenue apartment or on the street, he shows up the same way. Direct, practical, and rooted in real love. This conversation cuts through the emotion, confusion, and fear that families face when they don't know what to do next, and offers clarity, strategy, and hope. Please welcome to the show, Scott Stein. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We've got you here, Scott.
Yes, you do.
All the way out from D.C.
Yes, thanks for having me.
It's good to finally have you on this show. So, who are you? Who's Scott?
Dude, Scott. Scott is a guy in long-term recovery who has lived experience in with the disease of addiction, who loves helping individuals and their families, for the most part, but mostly the individual, navigate treatment and beyond, and getting into treatment interventions. That's how I met you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like to bring a little bit of humor, a little bit of in-your-faceness, but all with like love and heart. That's my approach.
Okay, and then where'd you grow up? Where were you born and growing up?
I was born in Maryland, the Maryland side of D.C., Montgomery County, Maryland, to two parents who are still married somehow. I don't know. And two siblings.
It's rare these days.
It's rare, and there have been a few times since I was a kid. I was like, I think they're about to get divorced, and maybe we'll get into that later. We'll see where this goes. And middle-class suburb deal, picket fences, dogs, 2 cars, some people had boats, big backyards. It snows back east, so we had a great sledding hill in the backyard, and the kids used to come like from all over the neighborhood and stuff. And I had a crew around my age, and my brother had a friends group around his age, and my sister had her friends. I'm the oldest of 3, and 2 dogs. It seemed fine, you know, like it really, and it was for my brother and sister, and it really was for me. Yeah, dude, sports, cul-de-sac baseball with the tennis ball and half-court basketball. We had the hoop outside our house in the cul-de-sac, and it was fun. It was a new development, so families bought those houses, and there was a bunch of kids our age, and it seemed cool, and from the outside it looked cool. I just always felt weird. I just always felt different. I always felt less than. I wasn't particularly great with sports, although I did play 2 or 3 sports a year. Baseball was my favorite, and I just, sometime around middle school, I just think it caught up with me. I don't know if I've had this disease since I was born. I don't have time to figure any of that out. I know people like to talk and wax poetic about, oh, were you born with this, or was the addiction created? Or first of all, I don't have the proper degrees to research this, and I'm busy trying to save my own life with my own program of recovery, so I don't have time to get in, to even look at that. But I can tell you, when I was about 12, I was doing really terrible in school. I didn't want to go. About a year or two after that, when I was kind of processing all this, when I had to transfer schools, and I jump around a little bit, I got a little ADHD, so I'm going to jump back and leave you hanging over here, and you may have to pick me back up and bring us back full
far,
circle.
so good.
But yeah. So not a linear speaker. I was kind of processing this with a counselor at a school I had to end up transferring to, and she was like, "What happened? What? You were doing your thing, you got into middle school, 6th grade was pretty good, 7th grade, it got weird. What happened?" And I said, "I just remember feeling like the color on the TV got turned down. Everything was dull. It lost its flavor. Coming back home on the school bus, I would be so excited. I would jump from side to side and look out this window over here and look at that window over there to see who was doing what. Because some of the older kids were already home and stuff from school, and they got out earlier. And these people were on the way to the park over there, and there's a basketball. I was I don't know what to do. This is so exciting. I just was jumping out of my skin for joy. And I don't remember the first day this happened, but I remember the bus doing that same route, weaving through the neighborhoods, and I couldn't wait to go home and run upstairs and close my door and turn my lights off and maybe download some albums on Kazaa or LimeWire, or just hide in my bed with the lights dim and read comic books, just escape. I didn't want to. And people would say, "Hey, Scott, so-and-so wants to play." And I was tell him I'm good, I'm busy, and yeah, just stopped going to school, stopped doing in seventh grade. And I ended up going to a different school, and I was getting bullied. It was an absolute mess. I was throwing tantrums in the morning, and my mom had to go to work. She was like, "Okay, we're gonna figure this out later. I gotta go. I gotta go to work." And probably my first substance, the first substance was I think, other than escapism, running upstairs and turning the lights off and reading comic books or being online by myself. Yeah. I'm an isolator. The disease loves me alone, whether it's shooting up in a McDonald's bathroom or reading comic books when I'm 12 and not wanting to go play outside. It loves me by myself. Mm-hmm. The second thing was food. I'd just be home, 12, 13 years old, eating whatever out of the fridge and doing whatever, and just escaping, just avoiding life. And that was, now that I've had some time to process, I've done some work in recovery, and I can kind of spot my patterns. Mm-hmm. My pattern is alone, avoiding, escaping, and feeling something outside myself. Sugar rushes from the entire family's ice cream out of the freezer at 11 a.m. when I should have been at school, Yeah. And that's when I think I started to have a major problem. When the drugs and stuff came a few years later, I was happy. It was yes. I had to repeat 7th grade. I went to a private school. My aunt pulled some strings and got me somewhere. And my parents were very committed. They were driving me an hour and a half round trip to get to this school and stuff before and after work. And those buses didn't get me there. And I did okay because people were kind of on my case. I couldn't hide. I love to hide. That's the other thing. Don't even pay this. This is tough for me because everyone's watching what I'm doing and saying. Mm-hmm. I like being somewhere in the background. I don't want anyone to notice. And even if I'm doing the right thing, I don't want you to know I'm there. Yeah. I'm no big deal. Dude, I'm the only guy I know that was dying to run for class, in 5th grade, class vice president. I didn't want to be the president. I don't even know what it entailed, but someone said, you should run. I think you would be good at this. And I was like, sick, I'm going to be vice president. I wanted it. I put myself on the ballot for vice president. Usually vice president was for the runner-up of president.
Yeah.
I wanted vice president. I didn't want to be the main character. That's my comfort zone. And yeah, when, I made some friends and stuff at the private school in middle school, and a guy's brother got some alcohol. Good friend of mine, who's still a good friend of mine. And got absolutely annihilated. And
Was it beer or was it hard stuff?
it was 151 rum.
Hard stuff.
The hardest, maybe. I guess there's harder alcohol, but stuff that you could buy at a regular convenience store. It was the hardest. I didn't know what it was. He was like, this is alcohol. And I was like, sick. I've been wanting to try that. I didn't know anything about it, but I've seen movies and stuff, and they look like they're having fun. And I think this is gonna fit like a glove. And I guess it did. I mean, I got alcohol poisoning. And
First time?
First time. We were taking shots of this 151, big shot glasses. We later found out when his brother told us what we were doing, we were taking double shots of this thing until, I blacked out. My mom thought I was like sick because I was like I couldn't hold water down. And I remember the foxhole prayer of like praying at the toilet. Like, if you get me out of this, I will never do that again. Because you want the pain to stop.
Yeah.
This is the prayers that I was doing right before I got clean and sober. It's like, please because it's the pain. It's so painful. Like, we don't want to be in pain. Like, I'm like just getting any cold tile that I could touch to me. I'm like, please, oh God, please get me out. And so I missed like a day or two of school, and I didn't hate the recovery of the alcohol poisoning because my mom thought I had a stomach bug. She's like bringing me crackers and water and ginger ales.
Yes.
And I was getting a lot of attention, and I liked that. And it's funny the things that come back to you when you're like, in the process of recovery and doing this work. Because I hadn't thought of that in a long time. Someone brought it up. Were you getting attention? And I was like, yeah, I was sick. It was awesome. Like, she was like taking care of me. They brought a little TV in my room, just like a couple channels with the antenna. But I had like a TV in my room, which wasn't common back then to have a TV in your room. We didn't have smartphones or tablets or internet to watch TV. But by Thursday, I was like, yo, what's good for this weekend? Can your brother get that thing again? Or maybe not the 151 version, because I liked not remembering what the heck happened.
Yeah.
And I also liked the fun of what we were doing. And around that time, I tried weed. What I liked more about weed is the counterculture aspect of it. It's not like weed today, it was like bad. It was naughty. We had to go to the woods to smoke it.
Yes.
It was very naughty. And I liked that. I could skip school with some other guys that were talking negatively about other things. Oh, who's your teacher for that class? Oh, she's what? And we're like, it's just super counterculture. Out of the way, in the woods, doing something no one else knew I was doing. Really fantastic fit. And, that was kind of my thing for a while. The disease is so progressive, dude. I don't like to stand there, especially at like a recovery meeting and be like, so I was a homeless junkie and then I got clean and sober and now I'm doing really well. You know what I mean? And like, I was a homeless junkie and we'll get to that, but like, it's so insidious and working in the background, continuing to keep me out of the way on the side, allowing me to be alone very, very gradually, very, very slowly over years. And I have a high tolerance for pain. So I was able to do this thing where it's like, it comes crashing down and then I kind of build it back up. I get another job, I move, I get a girlfriend, I do the thing, I switch this drug for that drug because like this is more expensive, or this like you build a tolerance faster or whatever. And then explodes again. And then the craters of these explosions kept getting like deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
And that like last crater I was in was like, I can't even get out. Like I'm like down here. I'm like 20 feet in the ground right now. And, I needed other people to help pull me out. And those people at that time, the 15th time, was not my family. It was not an ex-girlfriend listening to a sob story, and that's how I like to describe like getting clean this last time around. But my thing is opioids, benzos, alcohol. I'm not like you. I'm not like a tweak. I like to like fall down. I like to drool. Like I don't want to.
I had some opiate stints, heroin, real opium.
Yeah.
But I was a tweaker through and through.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the fast stuff. I was into coke and crack and all that too.
I've tried everything.
Yeah.
And I like crack when I was doing dope, but not by itself.
Yeah.
Like, dude, we get in the car. This is one crew I was running with towards the end, and they'd be like, we'd make 2 stops every time we go to the hood. Actually, you've been to my house, very close to where I live right now.
Yes.
People are like, oh, yeah, how do you stay clean and sober there? Oh, you can do it anywhere, bro. Like, I also, like, if I wanted to move away because this neighborhood is like triggering or whatever, I could probably like just get there in like 30 minutes via public transportation, a car, an Uber, a bicycle, a walk. Like, I will find it. Also, I've lived all sorts of places. I seem to always find something everywhere I go by accident. You know what you're looking for. We send out signals. But anyway, we'd get in the car and I'd be crossing my fingers that their first stop wasn't the crack dealer, because I wanted to do the in DC there's up and there's down.
Yes.
Or hard and raw. And they're like, no, let's go over here first. I'm like, that's not even on the way. Please don't do this. I get so anxious from the very like anxiety, like anxiously wound guy. It all started so I mentioned I played baseball.
Okay.
The orthopedist assumed I had like a pin tear in my meniscus in my knee. And over the years, I waited tables and bartended. That was kind of like my thing. From like 16 to 29, 30. That was like my thing. Primarily, I would do different things in hotels. I would have stints in construction, selling insurance, whatever. And I also sold weed like the entire time I was using, off and on. And it got so bad from, I guess, like the pivoting of like waiting tables. Like I was moving around like this. It just slowly like tore. So I got surgery. And they were kind of like throwing out oxys like Tic Tacs. It's not like it is today. And I don't think he had any malicious intent. I think he was like, this dude's going to be hurting and he wants to get back to his like part-time
Give him some
job.
legitimate pain meds.
Yeah, he needs pain meds. It's not their fault. They were being,
Doctors.
They were being doctors who were heavily trained by pharmaceutical reps. And so he wasn't on my resentments or anything in my step work. Like, he's cool.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I remember that first one. I was like, ooh, that's what I'm looking for. I remember it. I don't remember my first time, like specifically like smoking weed, like what the thought process, and I share my alcohol story. I don't have any memory, but that was like, aha. I just like felt fine. And I immediately started self-medicating with it, taking more than I said on the bottle. Like immediately. There was like a party. I remember I went to it on the crutches and I just noticed I was able to talk to girls. I was social in the way I wanted to be. Yeah. I just always was so uncomfortable in my own skin. I would either pretend I was someone else, and you kind of like burn the tank on that pretty quickly. Like you just need to like take a nap. It's just exhausting. I was able to be me. I felt good. I felt like very, I just felt really comfortable. And that progressed really quickly, dude. You get a tolerance on that shit. Can I curse on here?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you get a tolerance on that shit pretty quick. And that's kind of when the struggle started. I just felt life was so hard. I was like, how do people like even pay rent? Like, how do they do this? Like, how do you have, like, you bought a car? How'd you buy a car?
Yeah.
Would you put down? You have 4,000? I don't have $40. How do you have 4,000 of them? Because the tolerance on the oxys went up, and I'm not unique here, where I very, very quickly, moved to heroin, and I wasn't linear either. You can get on maintenance and kind of like let that die down a little bit, and just pick up the drinking with the maintenance and the weed smoking, get back to work.
Maintenance in what sense?
Yeah,
like methadone.
Yeah.
Did you get on that?
I have been on the methadone program before, but like Suboxone off the street was like primarily the.
So there was intent to not do opiates for a while, here and there.
Here and there, because it would just get so out of control. Like I didn't want to be doing it, but if I need to like put on my pants and go to work, I like, what are my options? And I've, of course I've gone to work withdrawing dozens, if not hundreds of times, but to reel it back in and to be able to, put some money together to like pay the power bill or whatever, which, the power company and I had a really weird relationship. It was just always like the envelopes change colors. For those listening or watching, if you're not an unmanageable drug addict, what happens is the utility bills envelopes change colors. They're first yellow. And I'm like, as a procrastinator, I'm like, sick, that goes in this drawer. And I don't want to look at that again because I already know I'm behind. Then they turn red, then they turn it off. And when that started getting really out of control, it was like, well, I cannot afford a dope habit. I mean, I'm not a big crime guy. Like, I don't like going to jail. It's not very fun for me.
Yeah.
Not a huge fan of jail. I've been, and it's just not my thing. And I know some people just kind of live in that like pattern of doing
institutionalized lifestyle.
Yeah. They have no problem going to Target and doing. So I have a gift card game that I think was pretty flawless, but it didn't involve as much stealing. So yeah, I just have my own little system where I would get back on Suboxone and try to get on a methadone program. The thing with methadone is because I was so disorganized, you got to get down there at a certain time. You have to wake up, number one. Then you have to be organized enough to like, see my kind of, and I still do this now. I'm like, all right, cool. I got to be there at 2:30. It's about 30 minutes away. I want to be a few minutes early. So when that clock says 1:57, I'm going to leave. And I'll sit there staring at it, waiting for it's just like, it's okay to get there a little early. No one's going to look at you funny, especially the methadone clinic. There's a line when you get there.
Yeah.
There's other people. That's their day too. They get down there. And so I was never able to stick with it. I didn't like, you have to do certain things to, stay in good standing with them. And like, you have to comply with all these different rules, not just the urinalysis testing, which you get like 17 get out of jail free cards with. You just need to be there. And that was hard for me.
What's the highest milligrams they had you on?
The methadone?
Yeah.
So it was probably when I was doing the 2011 one. It was like 100, 110. That's what they would start me on.
Start you on?
I'm sorry, they'd start you on 80. This was the standard at the one by
Really?
actually it's the last.
I thought they usually start people like 20 or 40.
Not me, not back then. It's the last one in DC, and I think they still do it this way.
Wow.
Like 60, 80, and then get you up. But I never got to do the full. Actually, I'm working with a guy right now who is just going there. He's not going there anymore. He's doing very well.
Have you experienced the methadone detox?
All myself?
Yes.
Yes. It's fine. I don't know about this like gets in your bones stuff or the things that they talk about, but it is very painful. I was always just dabbling with like Suboxone. So I was perfectly like prepared for a miserable, painful couple days, followed by not quite there in the bowel sense for a little bit with tears and, I'll like do a yawn thing. This last time, actually I just acknowledged 7 years 2 Sundays ago. November 23rd is my date. And so that's what I'm saying by this last time. And it's just this time around.
Does that mean 100% abstinence?
100% abstinence off of all mood and mind altering substances. Yeah. I was like kind of kicking for like 6 months. The last remaining thing was a series of sneezes and a lot of yawning with like tears. And I, probably not perfect.
Were you
BMs.
an intravenous user?
Yeah, off and on, yeah, and at the end, yeah, at the end of this last time,
It
was all fentanyl by then.
Oh, so you were a fentanyl user too?
Yeah, I was in denial about the fentanyl because this was 17, 18.
Yeah.
And they would. Now I was just like, hey, what does not have fentanyl in it? And of course, everyone's like, mine's pure, uncut, whatever. I'm like, great, that's what I want. Now, the people today are like, let me get that fentanyl. We're just asking for it by name.
Straight up.
Yeah.
How was your family dealing with this, with you being so addicted? Plus, you said you were homeless for a while, too.
So the homelessness was like, my family didn't quite get the full grasp of what was going on. So I was chosen to be homeless for a few months because I was about to get evicted and I didn't want to be there when the marshals got there for some reason, just because I was like, would be embarrassed or something.
So chosen as in like,
so I wasn't coming home.
You chose to be homeless.
Yeah. That was the first time I was just out. And I'd come home to like get some things out in the back. I would like sneak in the back door and get a couple things and then leave again. And actually, as it turns out, when I got evicted, is I had people over at the place because I would like have people come in the middle of the night and stuff. We'd hang out there. We were just squatting in my apartment of like 6.5 years.
Yeah.
I was able to maintain that place. I mean, wasn't perfect, but like I was cool with the landlord. And but I like passed out, like I nodded out, and then at like 7:30 in the morning, the marshals came. I was like, "What are the odds? I haven't even slept here in like weeks." And they're throwing the stuff on the sidewalk and stuff. It's very like embarrassing. Everyone's like coming out, seeing if they could like, oh, cool, free furniture. I'm like, no, I'm waiting for the, and so then I kind of had to like tell them what was going on. Like I was like, hey, can you like get me a moving truck and pay for a storage facility because all my stuff's on like the street. And they were like, what's going on? And I kept a lid on it for a while, but like they had their suspicions. They didn't live around me anymore. My parents didn't. My brother did. They moved to Massachusetts about 7 years before that. So at a distance, I was able to make it look like something that it wasn't,
Like you weren't as bad as you were.
Yeah.
Were they enabling?
Yeah. They're not the worst. No, they don't have like a ton of money or resources that I could. And trust me, if they did, I would have had a bunch of schemes to be able to manipulate and utilize those resources and money. But toward the end, when I was like, I'm trying to get back, I need a job, and then I can get an apartment again. I was staying with a family member. I kind of wore out my welcome there with her. In the rooms, they say like they have the term hostages.
Yeah, taking people hostage.
So I got a little job at a little restaurant and found a bartender and took her hostage, stayed at her place. Little did I know I was kind of her hostage too. It was very weird. She's an alcoholic.
Codependency.
It was a really great example of codependency. It was the most accelerated toxic relationship I've ever been in. I mean, back to front, this thing was like 6 weeks,
Yeah.
And it was just insane. And I would have little emergencies. Oh, I got in a jam. Dad, can you Venmo me? Mm-hmm. Not a lot. I mean, enough to like keep my little scheme going of the middle manning or whatever I may have been doing. Hey, I need work shoes. I'm going to get a job. I need to get work shoes. And they're nice. They're really nice where they're non-slip because I'm like a restaurant guy. I need these shoes. You send him a link. He thought he was doing great. He'd send me to the cent what those shoes were. And all kinds of other stuff. I'm in a jam. I need to pay this so my mom was doing some work. She was kind of calling some of my friends, like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like, what is happening? I looked different. I'd lost an amazing amount of weight. I always fluctuated, but like for several years, I was like, skin and bones, Then I think my coloring started to change, and I'm like untagging myself on Facebook as quick as I can because I knew I didn't want anyone to see me. I knew I didn't. I was in denial. I would get mad when someone said something, like straight anger, like I'm going to hurt your feelings for even saying what you're truly seeing, but also like delete. Yeah, I didn't want anyone to see me, mostly my parents. And my brother kind of knew it was up. He lived in the area up the street, and so I don't know what she did, but she, by way of maybe some therapists or medical professionals, she ended up in Al-Anon. And I don't think she was like an active member of a group near her or anything, but because of who she is, and I love this about her, and many other mothers that we've met, they begin to try to like educate themselves and arm themselves with the facts.
Yes.
They're like, hang on, let me look into this. Started going to Al-Anon, started talking to people, and one day it stopped.
You're a product of Al-Anon too?
I'm kind of a product of Al-Anon, yeah.
Me too.
It's amazing. I'm grateful. I was mad because I called my dad and was like, hey, or no, I called my mom and was like, because my mom doesn't know how to use Venmo.
Yeah.
The system is, hey mom, can you have dad send me a Venmo? Because he knows how to do it.
Yeah.
And he has a Venmo account. And she said that last time, it was September. It might have been the very beginning of October 2018. She said, I can't do that anymore. We can only give you money for things that like will help you, like get you help. I don't know how she worded it, but like we're interested. And we know this now, you and I, this is the stuff, this is the language. I was like, no, I'm not. That's not.
She knew you were not well.
She knew I was not well. She didn't know what was happening, but she knew something was weird.
Yeah.
And it was drugs. She knows I'm the guy that at the wedding I get wasted, or I'm sneaking off with like cousins to the bathroom, or that's just me. She like kind of knows. It's not like out of the ordinary that this would be an issue right now. And then it got a little out of control. I don't have a place to live. I lost all my stuff. They put all my stuff, and some of that was some family stuff that I was kind of hanging on to in my apartment because they used to live in the area. They didn't bring it back home with them, and I didn't pay the storage bill, of course. And so there's that show Storage Wars. That's real. Like they auctioned off they bidded on my things and got all my stuff. I didn't even know that happened until I called with some money I'd acquired to pay enough for them to like take the padlock off my storage. And they're like, oh no, it's gone. It's like a month ago. Like your stuff's gone. We sent you tons of mail. And I was like, I don't have a house. I don't have a mailbox. And so I had to tell them that, like, hey, some of our stuff is gone. Like grandpa's coin collection is gone. Dad's stamp collection is gone. The records are gone.
Now, what was your breaking point and your turning point that brought you into the path of recovery once and for all?
So the first part of this was like, oh my gosh, my parents aren't playing this game anymore. Like, it makes it a lot harder when you don't have like buffer money. If it's $75, if it's $20, if it is a payment on a car, it's like, okay, cool. So this, okay, we're bootstrapping this. This is gonna, and it made it happen so much faster.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, bro. Like a couple months before that, I messaged a guy on Facebook because he looked like he used like me, like no one like used worse or better or whatever. That's so silly. But if there was a guy who used worse than me, it was this guy. He was like always like kind of scabby and he just this is like a junk. He gets cigarette burns all over, and he looked awesome on Facebook. I was like, hey, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I go to these meetings. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, can you help me? And he was like, for sure. And he sent me like the meeting list, like a link to a meeting list.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, like, can you help me? Like, can you send me like a Cash App and I got you back like after I make some moves? And he's like, no, we don't do that, but you can come here. And I was like really mad, And then Thanksgiving came a few months later, and I was crashing back at my cousin's, like not super close to where I live, but she let me stay there. And I've learned since then, I mean, she was just doing her best, kind of a form of enabling. I wasn't paying my way. I was eating her food. I was using in there. I was taking her car at night, was taking cash. Thanksgiving was a disaster. I was just talk of the table, I'm sure, at Philadelphia. I wasn't invited, and I'd taken the car out one last night. I got a flat tire. I was big on like, you got to get the gas right back to where it was, you got to like put it in the spot how she had it, put the key exactly back where she left it. And I drove the car like several miles with a flat tire and just dragged this like string of rubber right into the parking space and just went to sleep. I was like, I'm going to handle that in the morning, and my mom popped up on me because she was up the road in Philly and was like, what are we going to do? Because you can't stay here.
Yeah. And
I can't explain what happened. I was just like, I'm going to a meeting.
Came out of your mouth.
I'm going to a meeting. And she was like, a meeting? What? And I've been to these before. I've had to go to get things signed for court and whatever. So she knew I was semi-familiar, and people in my family have also dabbled. And she was like, what meeting? And I was like, and I pulled up that list that guy sent me a few months before and just looked at like the nearest one that night and was like, there's one at 7:00 by PG Plaza Mall. And she was like, okay, so go to that and then we'll figure this out. And I went there and I was like, so I think I can keep doing this for a little bit. They said I can come to 90 of these in 90 days. They said I can. Yeah. Like I got permission. And I'd heard that before. 90 means 90. It's just over my head. Yeah. Also, like, why would I do that? I'm very busy. I'm very important. I have a lot going on. Who would ever. Everything this woman said to me that night hit completely different than it ever had. Getting utilized as a sponsor. Go to 90 meetings in 90 days. Try to make some friends, get like a network. I was just so excited. I had a whole row of their Oreos and 2 cups of coffee, and no one said a thing. I was like allowed.
You were sober at this point now.
That was 2 days.
2 days sober.
Of kicking.
You were kicking
physically.
Raw. Like not raw. With any detox.
Raw. I was like scared out of it, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm I'm a wuss. I don't like feeling not physically perfect. I'll have like a little piece of a Suboxone if someone's got one. I just don't even want to. I can't do it. I knew dudes that would just go to work and work a full shift on construction sweating, and they would just get off work and cop. I was like, hey, I'm not going to work. I will lose my job than feel uncomfortable at work. I will sit here and wait for the dope man. I will sit here and wait for some money to come through. I can't do it. So something about just the seeing her face, not expecting her, I'm leaving a lot of out from that night. I was like banging on their neighbor's door because they had my brother's car keys, who was in Philly so he didn't trust the keys in the house. He was staying in the house as well at this time. It's my cousin Lisa. She's my grandma's cousin. She's very good to us. And my brother was a great guest there, so he was great. But he had and I knew they had the keys. I was like banging on their thing at like 3. Got the other car. Anyway, it was just, yeah. And then all came crashing down. My mom, I also, and I'd been out of drugs and out of money several times. That also happened that day. And I pulled up to the guy and gave him $13 and just like rolled out like in the car. Wow. Like, yeah, maybe I knew that was my last bag somewhere, or like it was like a God thing, or so. I don't know what my relationship with a God. I have a higher power, and that's a thing I've been working on, but it was just like kind of supposed to happen. Maybe I can't explain it, but yeah, I was able to just feel like ass. Maybe I've been doing less and less, and it wasn't like, so the withdrawals weren't as bad. I don't know. I was just so happy to be, and it was cold. So being in like warm rooms with nice people who were like laughing and hugging and eating cookies and coffee. And I just kept going to a bunch of those. And my mom was like, so I'm going to go back home now. What is your plan? And I had met a guy at that meeting. It was my 5th one. No, I went Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, my 4th one.
Yeah.
I was like, my mom gave me a Metro card. We have the DC Metro there, and the card works on the buses too. And I was like, this is, whatever's on here is good for a little longer. And he was like, let's look at some recovery houses. You could even pay yourself. They're really cheap. And you're a good worker. I'm sure you'll get a job and do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, why? I don't have a job right now, and I'm like negative billions of dollars. And he was like, no, you can stay at my house on my couch. And I'd even be down to like throw 100 or whatever if you stay clean and sober at your first month, at your first week at this house or whatever. And I stayed there, applied for some jobs, got the job. It wasn't fancy. It was a grocery store. I just listened to what everyone was saying. They were like, don't worry about bartending and serving, bro. Like, don't worry about sales. Don't worry about like construction, like management. Don't worry. You do not need to make 6 figures right now. Yeah. You need to practice getting up, taking a shower, putting clean clothes on, and getting somewhere on time and working with others without starting an altercation like at work. Like, you need all these skills that I don't think I really had. I would tell you I had them.
Yeah.
I fancy myself like a really hard worker, and I'm really good at work. And I've been suspended and written up so many times from like getting in a fight at work or being super late or getting out of there early with some story. And I did need to practice these things. You know, all these things had to happen, and I had to learn to slow it down. What if I worked at a grocery store, made next to minimum wage, and paid my little rent at a sober house? What if that lasted like years? What is the worst thing? What is so terrible about that? What would the downside of that be? That I didn't have all the stuff I want?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That I didn't have a cool apartment, a hot girlfriend, a sick car. That's what I wanted when I got clean. They were like, get a sponsor. That's someone who has what you want. And I was like, what do I want? Cool car, hot girlfriend. Got it, done. That's not what would have happened. Now, I didn't stay I stayed at the sober house for 2.5 years. I learned how to fix my credit. Someone had to show me how to do this. And it is like watching paint dry. I'm an instant gratification guy. I like the big, fat, fun,
Real
sexy
quick.
thing.
Yeah.
I need to feel it.
Yeah.
Somewhere in my brain where it goes, and my hair stands up on the back of my neck. Ooh, I love that. That's not how any of that works. Fixing credit, mending relationships, people learning how to trust you, me learning how to trust the process, saving up money so I can get a down payment on an apartment. And same with the sober house, dude. I learned how to balance a checkbook. I learned how to clean real good.
Life skills.
Life skills. You've been to my house.
Yeah.
I did not keep things clean like that before.
It's very nicely.
I learned that at the sober living, how to mop a floor.
So at this point, you've taken recovery by the horns. Now, I do want to mention, for those that don't know, that Scott Steen and I are part of a team. It's called Intervention on Call. We are interventionists. We're family recovery coaches. We are individual coaches. Scott and I also do a lot of sober companion work, and I got some questions for you. I wanted to kind of get into the questions and then give us some answers, and then we will talk about your social media handles and how people can find you.
Yeah, for sure.
My first question to you is, what's the moment a family usually realizes they can't manage this on their own?
One moment?
Give me one.
One moment when they can't manage this on their own. I would say it's probably after trying. I always say people try 7,000 times, 7,000 different ways, and nothing seems to work. Families that we seem to tend to work with have, they're either the commonality seems to be that they're very brilliant in one area of their life. Like they're very good in business, or they've done something very well. And all of them, well, if we're talking about people's children but they usually have families, and they've done okay at like raising a family and like having a fun life. And they've done all of that with their grit and their brains.
Yeah.
And then why would this be anything different? We can figure this out. We can do this. What they don't understand is they're dealing with like the most insane thing that you could possibly imagine. It's completely insane. Why would every time I don't want to feel like I feel, I do something that can kill me. Like, you are no match for this. You need someone with, an expert, right? I wouldn't have like a heart thing. And I'm like, my brother's like the smartest guy I know. If I didn't feel great, something was kind of going on medically that seemed really dangerous with me, I wouldn't talk to my brother about it and be like, let's figure this out, bro. I would go to the specialist. So when they've tried their thing and they're like, this still didn't work, and they're baffled, usually that's when, we've heard from them. They still want to kind of talk it out though, and like run some ideas by you. And they're living in a version of what they're going through that's based in some sort of sanity. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're still trying. You got to get a guy that speaks the language. I always say I'm like bilingual. Like I could talk to like mom or the spouse or whatever, and I can also speak a language that the person understands. I don't know if that's a good answer to your question.
No, that's a good answer. How do you prepare someone for treatment before they're ready to go?
My approach is probably different than yours.
What's your approach?
You got to go, bro. You just got to go. Like I was saying about the recovery house and the slow, what is the worst thing that's going to happen here is that you try to, and you're going to try this. And we're so proud of you that, because obviously in this hypothetical question you're asking, they've probably not said no F that. They're at least like maybe going to go. This is either on the way to treatment. And I do a lot of this. I love transports. I love going to treatment with people. It's time to chop it up, maybe prepare them a little bit if it's their first time, what they're probably looking at. And say it's 30, 60, say it's 90 days. Worst case scenario, you got 3 hots and a cot, most likely in a pretty okay place. And just give yourself a freaking break, man. Like, just stop. This is chaos. Let's just get there. It's going to be super chill, especially if they have like amenities. And I know people just put little bells and whistles on their programs, and they have like yoga and whatever, and all that's great. Like, you want to ride a horse, dude? You want to like get in the cold plunge and like do some like sound bath? Like, let's just press pause on this chaos. Because if I'm taking someone in treatment, 90% of the time they've been through a war. It's just not working. Let's just try it. Worst case scenario, it's not for you. You don't have to continue on the foundation that they're probably going to attempt to build with you. Now, after a few weeks, this, as Sam Davis says, like, oh, it's just been a misunderstanding. I think we've made a mistake. Then that's step 2 of like kind of post-admission discussions. But what is the worst thing that can happen by trying to just press pause on the madness? You know,
What happens after treatment that most families are totally unprepared for?
dude, this is my passion, is the after care, post discharge. No one is fixed. There's nothing to fix. No one has. You've built a foundation. It's so weird to have this conversation with families, and this is why I like people like you that have so much experience, because there's little nuances in this. How would you talk to a family to say, great, we finally did it. We got them there. Yes, everyone's throwing a party, right? Like we've rented out a banquet hall. We're inviting 250 people. There's a huge celebration. They finally went. That's the thing we've been working on and talking about. That's the first thing we talked about when they called me. To tell them that this is really just the beginning. None of this will matter if they don't come out and take suggestions. The real work, the actual stuff is, what are you doing on the outside? The real work is, how open and willing are you to follow suggestions? You're going to be suggested things in there. If the treatment center is worth their weight at all, they're going to recommend outpatient stuff, sober living. Maybe it's stepping down a PHP, partial hospitalization program, or intensive outpatient, which is IOP. There may be some associated, affiliated housing or whatever. There may not be. What we are looking for is, we're trying to build a house. We would like it to be a tall, amazing house. When they're working on the foundation of some of these like big, beautiful homes, apartment buildings, or just buildings in general, you may not even see anything happening above ground for like months. They're building a really strong foundation. Now we're going to build the house. So, and congratulations, we have to start with the foundation, but the real work comes after. So let's everyone take 5 while they're in there for a month or however long. And then let's get back after it when they come out and continue the stuff we've been talking about, the enabling stuff, the support stuff.
Love it. How do you build accountability without micromanaging or controlling someone's life?
Make them part of the discussion, dude. Like, it's really cool when it's collaborative. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do this. It's tough. I do a lot of like recovery, sober coaching stuff with like young men.
Yes.
And we have a place that we'd like to see them end up, or at least different phases. And we'll do this, and then you do that, and then it'd be very easy if you weren't like, okay, now you have to go do that. Oh, you did this, that's bad. You shouldn't do that. Wait, we're just tons of support and love and like teamwork. You know what I mean? Like, praise when they do something good, but also like you have to let someone bump their head sometimes, especially the young men, 21, 20, 22, 20, whatever it is. What was anyone's life like then? You made some really stupid mistakes. If you told me when I was 21, Scott, if you do this, it's going to be bad, it's going to be a big mistake, I wouldn't do it like that. I'd be like, okay, I'm a pretty smart guy, I'm going to do it anyway. You'll see. You can't tell someone anything. You can't micromanage them into, this is all through learned experience, and nothing teaches us like pain.
Yeah.
Okay, you like this one guy I'm working with right now. We're looking at just doing a couple of things, and anyway, he got a first paycheck and he wanted to invest, and he bought some crypto coins, and it went down a little bit. It may go up, I don't know, but he doesn't have any money until next Thursday night. I couldn't have said anything about the crypto. I couldn't have said anything about a couple weeks ago when he went to a party and felt absolutely like terrible because there was like booze around. He's too new in recovery to be around that, and there's nothing I could have said. But like, I'll be here the next day when you want to unpack this with me, but also like, how do you feel about that right now? Maybe I won't do that next week. Okay, yeah, that's a cool idea. Just make them part of the conversation.
Love it. Let's see here. What's the biggest misconception people have about interventions?
That you can call someone and they're going to come and say special words with a magic wand and make this person just go to treatment. They don't usually come with the information that there's going to be like a family component of this. There's like kind of like a learning and discovery phase of like what's going on. And that I'm going to require some work from you guys too. Sure, this is the individual that we would like to see get to treatment. I will need some stuff from you too. people just need someone to come and fix this immediately. I couldn't. In some situations, this is not the case, but for most of them, there are, and you know this too. There's always an outlier, right? I'm sure there's someone, and I've done this, right? It's like, it's an intervention. It ends up being a transport. I come and I'm about to do a big thing, and the guy's like, "Oh, what are we doing?" I'm like, "I'm here to talk to you about," and he's just packing his suitcase to go to treatment. Like, that has happened. And I've actually felt kind of funny about that too, because I'm like, maybe I should. Anyway, you live and you learn. You know, I've always been I learn something every single time I do one. But yeah, it's not like I can just come in there and say anything magical, especially if someone's being heavily enabled by family. They have keys to the car, they're living at home, they have an allowance, and I'm like, hey, with my magic wand, I'm going to make you go to treatment right now. We're a little ways away from there. And interventions is a process, not an event.
Love that. You're absolutely right. It takes time.
The second I start talking to mom on the phone, I let her know
We are in it. Work.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work. Yeah. How do you build trust with someone who has every reason not to trust anyone?
It's a great question. How do you build trust with someone who has a reason to not? I guess slowly, and let them watch my moves. I don't know. Yeah, you got no reason to trust me.
We have to get creative with it sometimes. We got to strategize and get creative with it.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm a big fan of a slow burn. That's why I don't love the hey, I'll be there in the morning. I'm going to say a special thing that makes them go to treatment. Mm-hmm. But also on the recovery coaching side, it's different for every person. That's why, like, when someone's like, hey, will you do this coaching with my son, my husband, my dad, whatever, I don't have like a information sheet I send them. Like, these are the things we're going to do. Like, how do you make a friend? Are you immediately in their hip pocket, like from day one? Like, no, it's a slow burn. You learn a little more about each other. You find some commonality. You understand after we are skeptical creatures by nature, not just addicts and alcoholics. We are always a little anxious. We're always looking over our shoulder. We should be like that, right? We come from a long line of people who didn't have a lot of food and people were trying to kill us all the time. So it takes some time. And it starts real slow.
What role does humor play in the middle of? One more time. What role does humor play in the middle of chaos, conflict, and crisis?
This is my strength and a weakness. I try not to be like the comic relief, but I believe it keeps things light. When there's chaos, dude, it's just like a movie, right? Like, you're kind of waiting for like the silly, like the comic relief to happen, you know, to kind of break the tension.
I love it.
But like,
I love that you say this.
Yeah, that's my thing. And you
can change the whole tone of the room.
You can feel it. It's like kind of weird. No one knows what to do or say, because I mean, we've been in situations where like you cannot believe what this person is saying to their family, or you've been in a tense situation. I go places where I'll have to, not necessarily to intervene, but like someone wants me to speak to someone who's maybe experiencing like psychosis and or homelessness or something like that. And there's all sorts of stuff happening in there, in the facility or wherever they are outside. You can feel it. And then you can feel everything kind of like the tension dissipate when there's like kind of a funny thing that happened. That's my strength. I like to crack a joke here and there. I crack a joke when I speak at a recovery meeting. It's just I'm a really big believer in laughter is the best medicine.
I love it. This has been a very pleasant conversation. I love hearing from you. Not bad for a guy that was a little bit anxiety ridden in the beginning. But
no, you're good at what you do, man. Honestly, this is
very, very good. So how can people find you? Do you have some social media handles or a website or anything like that if they are interested in learning more about Scott Stein?
Yeah, so the recovery, so companionrecovery.com is the website that you can read about the coaching, transports, and companionship, where we support people in all phases of treatment and recovery. My TikTok that I'm getting the hang of it. Learning from the best is Scott's Coaching. Scott's Coaching, SCOTTS Coaching. And Instagram is _companion.
Love it. Excellent. Well, I appreciate you coming all the way out here from DC and having a little convo with me.
Dude, anytime. Love LA.
Yeah, I love your vibe. I love our friendship, and until we meet again, which will be soon. We've got some projects ahead of us. So this has been a wonderful conversation. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having me.
As mentioned, what a pleasant conversation with Scott. I really, really love talking to him. I love interviewing him, and I love working alongside him. So something that I didn't mention during the actual interview with Scott was that when Scott first joined our team at Intervention on Call, he actually knew me but didn't know me personally because he's from Montgomery County, Maryland, and my aunt started Arise and Flourish, which is a nonprofit organization that goes into schools helping educate youngsters, a lot of teenagers, a lot of people that are actually in junior high schools and high schools. And Scott was one of the volunteers that was part of that movement for a while. So he had heard my name before and told me as we got to know each other a little bit better that once he heard my name, it must be the same guy that's in recovery. And I remember when we first started that organization over a decade ago, to hear, years later that this guy who I don't even know from the other side of the country was actually a part of something that we had started out there a long time ago was enlightening. It touched my heart a lot. Now that I've gotten to know Scott more, in a sense, we have almost identical stories because of everything that we went through as far as addiction went, and then also homelessness, and the fact that both of our moms got into the path of their own recovery to be able to work on themselves and recognize how bad we were and what they needed to do to not enable that, which is wonderful. And it was nice to hear it straight from Scott's mouth. If you like this channel, please support and subscribe. Also, please share it with other people. We love to hear from you in the comment section. I don't see enough comments. If you'd like, please comment. Would love to see more comments from you. And until we meet again, this is Primary Purpose with Pej.